When I went to college, my professors were pretty clear. It was simple. Good people go into public service. Greedy, selfish people try to make money. So, how many of you heard that message from your professors in school? Some, I'm happy, not so many. A recent survey of young people asked, which is better, socialism or capitalism? Slightly more picked socialism. Are they crazy? Socialism eats freedom and opportunity. Brian Brenberg teaches economics at the King's College in Manhattan, and one student came into your office and said, is it okay if I go into business?
Yeah, it was sort of like she was admitting that she had cheated on an exam or something. She put her head down and just said, you know, is it all right if I want to go into business? And I thought to myself, is this the state of our situation now among young people, that we have to sort of apologize for our interest in going into the marketplace? If it is, that's very bad news.
And the King's College, where you teach, is a place more sympathetic than most.
It is, actually, which is what's so surprising about it. But our students feel this urge to go into the nonprofit space because they have this sense that when they look ahead at their future, there's a fork in the road. I can go into the for-profit sector and make money, or I can go into the nonprofit sector and do good, but those worlds don't overlap.
They don't get that the only way to really make money in the for-profit sector is to give customers something customers really need or want.
Yeah, just about half of millennials surveyed in this poll said that the way the rich get rich is at somebody else's expense. As a result, they're sort of systematically looking away from the private sector and looking toward the nonprofit, social enterprise, NGO sector, and that's a problem because they're just cutting off so many opportunities for themselves.
And in countries where there isn't much of a capitalist sector, like Nigeria, Turkey, China, Vietnam, people have a higher view of the marketplace than America.
Yeah, they have eyes to see what we enjoy.
And I should be clear that the people who said they prefer socialism to capitalism were just people your age, younger than age 30, and it was a very narrow difference. And it may be that they just don't know what socialism means.
I think that's actually true. When you ask the question slightly differently and you say, hey, who do you want controlling your life? Private sector interactions or government interactions? Most say, look, I want the private sector to be the determinant factor in my life.
And the critics say when we libertarians talk that we're selfish, we don't care about other people, and that's why we support business.
I think one thing we tend not to be as good at is pointing out some of the other aspects of the market that actually anti-market folks have claimed, like community, or justice, or relationships, or inclusiveness. These are things that the market actually fosters, but I bet almost nobody in this room would say, I love markets because they foster justice. I love markets because they build community. But
they build community because they bring people together. How do they foster justice?
Well, because everybody has a shot to go into the marketplace and serve somebody. Markets create that opportunity for them, and we should be talking about things like justice.
Students, do you have questions for Brian Brenberg?
Hi, my name's Corey Massimino, and I live in Florida and go to Seminole State College. I agree that in a perfectly free market with competition, that truly the only way to make a profit is to serve customers. But given that the way our current economy works tends to be very corporatist, like you mentioned before, the Export-Import Bank, or things like the Federal Reserve, intellectual property, and licensing restrictions and things like that. Don't you think that a lot of the rich people today are getting rich at the expense of others? I mean, half of Congress are millionaires. Do you think they really got rich by serving customers?
We tend to pay a lot of attention to the cases where markets break down. And by the way, market opponents love to do that. They love to pay attention to the cases where markets break down. But 99.9% of the market transactions you see every day are cases where it's working well for both people. I would love to see us get better at telling that story, telling that narrative, and actually using some of the language that's been co-opted by anti-market forces and start bringing that back into the fold. I think it's actually ours to begin with.
Hi, I'm Hunter Markson. I go to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. I love capitalism, but there are a lot of people out there that associate it with negative things such as imperialism or corporatism.
You know, the rest of your peer group is going to hear that and say, another guy who loves capitalism. And they say, what is capital to begin with? I don't even know what capital is. So yeah, I think we need to think about changing the way we talk about this. What about, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I love justice. I'm so-and-so, and I love inclusiveness. I love community formation, and that's why I'm a fan of capitalism or free markets.
Hi, my name's Patrick Wynand. I'm from Lakewood, Colorado, but I go to school here at American University, which, if you know, is one of the most liberal campuses in America. I was wondering if you think it would be a good idea to promote free market ideas and capitalism through evidence of markets that many of these liberals support, such as medicinal marijuana or pro-choice, like abortion clinics.
The vast swath of Americans out there who aren't convinced about markets are probably going to get distracted by the high-profile, controversial nature of those issues. They're not going to think about markets, they're going to think about marijuana or abortion, and I think that's really not where you want to lead them. Start with the stuff nobody disagrees that's good and say, and it's happening not because you've got a designer, not because you've got a central planner. It's happening because people in a community are spontaneously working together to serve one another. Those are the stories that I think actually move people and don't distract people.
All right, thank you.
Why are you all here? It's a weekend. You're giving up party time. Why do you care? Did your parents teach you this? How many got it from your parents? Not many. Did you read a great book? On the screen behind, we've changed the Statue of Liberty. Instead of the tablet, she holds 3 books: Atlas Shrugged, Free to Choose, and the Constitution of Liberty. How many of you woke up to liberty because of one of those books? How many Atlas Shrugged? The Constitution of Liberty. Oh, come on, really? That's a tough book. Yeah, all right. Economics in One Easy Lesson. Milton Friedman, Free to Choose. How many of you woke up because of a college course? Very few. How many of you got it from Ron Paul? Quite a lot. And finally, how many of you got it because when you were in high school, one of your teachers played one of my Stossel in the Classroom TV shows, and you had a discussion about, all right. We have these videos, and people do learn some of these ideas in high school. Earlier, I asked some of you about this individually. What got you interested in liberty?
I had a professor who taught both Paul Krugman and Milton Friedman, and I liked Friedman better.
Watching Ron Paul actually got me interested in liberty.
I came across the ideas of Ron Paul.
YouTube videos of Milton Friedman, just him talking about how when people...
Why'd you find them?
I heard of libertarianism, then I typed it into the search box, Milton Friedman came up, and ever since then, I've been hooked.
It's actually my mom.
I actually first heard about libertarianism from you on Fox News.
My economics teacher and government teacher in high school, they played your public choice economics video.
These were ideas you hadn't heard before?
Not until I had seen the video, because these are not the kind of ideas that are showing up in textbooks that are written nowadays.
I'm originally from Russia, and moving to the United States, I saw that there is such thing as liberty.